Hello and welcome to part 2 of the 8.3 notes. This is the next video about differential equations, and I wanted to get started on this last example for the first page. And what I've got here is I have this differential equation dy dx is equal to 4x times y squared. Now remember that a differential equation, what we're talking about in this unit, differs because we have two variables, okay? So when we have two variables, we have to separate the variables. I'm going to get all the y's on one side and all the x's on the other. So let me rewrite this just real quick. I'm going to say that dy dx is equal to 4x times y squared, okay? If I, multiply by dx on both sides and then divide by y squared here, divide by y squared, then as a result, I end up getting 1 over y squared as a result of dividing by y squared, dy, is equal to 4x dx, okay? Now, at this point, what I want to do, and I've separated my variables, all the y's on one side, all the x's on the other. What I can do now is I can now take the integral of both sides, okay? And before I take the integral, I have to rewrite this because I don't have a rule for that. So if I write this as the integral of y to the negative 2 power dy, that's going to equal the integral of 4x dx, okay? So we can take our antiderivative, and that's going to give me y to the negative 1 divided by negative 1. And then the antiderivative over here is going to give me 4x squared over 2 and then plus c. Okay, remember, we only need the plus c on the right side. Okay, we don't need it on the left side, just need it on the right side. We'll talk more about in class why we do that. But let's go ahead and simplify what I have over here, and let's rewrite this left side term as negative 1 over y is equal to 2x squared plus c, okay? And what I'm going to do is, my objective now is to solve for y. So I'm going to divide this by just 1, okay? And so what I can do now is that y is in my denominator. I've got negative 1 over y, and I've got 2x squared plus c over 1. I can take the reciprocal of both of these sides, okay, and I'll get equivalent statements. So what I can do is I can take the reciprocal and write this as y divided by negative 1 is equal to 1 over 2x squared plus c, okay? And then what I can do is I can multiply both sides by negative 1 to get y by itself. And so then I'm going to get y is equal to negative 1 over 2x squared plus c, okay? And this is my general solution, okay? This is my general solution, all right? But before I go ahead and plug it, well, let's go ahead and just plug in our x and y value. My x value is 2, my y value is 1. So I'm going to come over here and x value of 2, x is equal to 2, y is equal to 1. And so let me go ahead and plug those in and solve for c. So I've got, what do we got? 1 is equal to negative 1 over 2 times 2 squared plus c. All right, and so I'm going to end up get it, 1 is equal to negative 1 over 2 squared is 4, times 2 again is going to give me positive 8, so I've got 8 plus c. And then what I've got is I can solve for c now. I can multiply both sides by 8 plus c, multiply by 8 plus c, and we get 8 plus c is equal to negative 1. Now, if I solve for c, I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and I'm going to go and get that c is equal to negative 9, okay? So I've solved for my constant. Now I can write my particular solution with my value of c. I'm going to write y is equal to negative 1 over 2x squared minus 9, okay? Now, something I do want to talk about with this problem is that you don't have to do it necessarily my way, okay? And this is where it gets a little tricky, but there is a number of ways to actually solve this problem and arrive at our final answer, okay? And I'm going to walk through another method that you might do in order to solve this. And so I'm going to start at this step right here and kind of think about a way that we could go about this in a different way. So let me zoom back in on this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this step over here, and I'm going to say, negative 1 over y is equal to 2x squared plus c over 1. So 2x squared plus c over 1. Okay? And some of you, in your algebra may think, all right, well, let's get rid of this negative 1 and move it over in this step. And so let's say that I multiply this by negative 1 and I multiply this whole thing by negative 1. I'm going to end up getting 1 over y is equal to negative 2x squared plus c. Now, here's the other interesting thing. When I multiply negative 1 by some constant, I'm still going to get a constant, okay? So when we operate with numbers on C, if I multiply by a number on C, we really just want to leave it as C. And the reason why is because if I take C and multiply it by negative 1, that is still going to be an arbitrary constant, okay? We're just going to keep calling it plus C, okay? And so what I want to do at this point is then write that over 1, and we're going to then solve this for y and take the reciprocal. So what happens is we're going to end up getting y is equal to 1 over negative 2x squared plus c. Now, when I do that, this is another form of my general solution. Okay, this is my general solution. All right. Now, what I could do here is I could say, well, let's go ahead and plug in 1 for y and 2 for x. So I get 1 over negative 2 times 2 squared plus c. And this is going to give me 1 over, this is negative 8 plus c. And if I move that to the other side, I'm going to multiply by negative 8 plus c, multiply by negative 8 plus c. And so I get negative 8 plus c is equal to 1. And if I add 8 to both sides, then I get that my value for c is equal to 9. Now that's different than what we had, okay? And so, I think a lot of you are sitting there going, well, hey, wait a minute, what happens if I get this and get this? Well, let's plug this back into the general solution we got for this one, and let's see what happens. So if I plug this in and I say, okay, y is equal to 1 over negative 2x squared plus 9, all right, how are these two equations similar to each other? And the question is, and the thing of it is that these are the same thing. They're just, one has a negative factored out of the denominator, and they ended up putting it in the numerator, okay? And what I can do to show you that is, let me go ahead and just multiply this by negative 1 over negative 1. And when I do that, I get y is equal to negative 1 over, and this is going to give me positive 2x squared minus 9, okay? And so this is the same thing as that, okay, or as this, all right? So that's what I want you to see. The point of all of this is that we want to arrive at the same answer. The method that we choose to go through this is kind of up to you and what you're comfortable with. There are some nuances with the constant c, but I do think it is very, very important that we arrive at the same answer. There are multiple ways of arriving at the same answer. It's just that we need to be comfortable with the work that we do, okay? Some people like going in a certain way. I prefer doing my algebra a certain way. Other people may not. But that's what I really want you to see about these differential equations is that there is more than one way to solve them. but it's just important that we do, in fact, arrive at the same answer. So, please get started on that first page of the homework where you are solving these, and we will be back soon. Talk to you later. Bye.